Okay. All right. Welcome. So a little bit about me, the moderator. My name is Sydnie Tucker. I am a senior graduating this December, so a couple more days. My major is biochemistry, obviously, and a Spanish minor. And then here are some of the things I'm involved in on campus. And the first thing being, I am a CALS Career Services peer career coach. So I work in career services offering resume review, cover letter review, interview prep, pretty much all the things related to careers for undergraduate students in CALS. And so the purpose of the event tonight is to highlight some of the different careers students can have as biochemistry majors and to help biochemistry students gain helpful insights on their journeys to finding a career that's right for them. And so right now we'll have the panelists go ahead and introduce themselves. And if you could just give your name, the year you graduated, and then a little bit of information about your current position and what a typical day looks like for you. And either one of you guys can start.
So I'll be happy to go first. So my name's Stephen Bergen. So I graduated from NC State in 2002 in biochemistry. I started in 98. I started in chemical engineering, and I switched to biochemistry about halfway through when I decided that the math curriculum of engineering was not my favorite thing in the world. But no, currently I am now a global marketing manager at BASF. So it's the world's largest chemical company. I work in agriculture. I have a portfolio of products that I manage on a daily basis. My products are biologicals and inoculants, so how we apply bacteria and different bacteria types to our farm crops and how we see the support from those and how they grow. I've been in that role for about 6 months now, but I've been with the company for 15 years. So it's a new role for me, but it's lots led up to that. My typical day is, get up, I check emails. It's a global role, so I have emails coming up from Europe and Asia oftentimes. So lots to do in the morning, get some typical work done. I work with operations, so the production side of our products. I work with our QA and QC, so our troubleshooting side to make sure our products are going out the door properly. And then, and really is asset managers, making sure that the volumes that we need are delivered to our customers at the end of the day and in good quality and working order. So.
Thank you. And then our other panelists can go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi, good evening. I'm Dr. Brad Kearney, and I'm a major in the U.S. Army's Medical Service Corps. Thanks for inviting me to talk today. My comments today are my own and do not necessarily represent the views and positions of the U.S. Army. So with that out of the way, I did my undergraduate at NC State, and scary how my undergraduate path parallels the other speaker here. I also started in chemical engineering and got out after about 2 years, jumping over to biochemistry. But I still loved chemistry, so I picked that up as a double major. But I also had a minor in Japanese language. So after graduating in 2008, I kept going at NC State, making up for that lost time in biochemistry by doing my PhD also at NC State in biochemistry. Finished that up in 2012. After that, I did a postdoc at Scripps Research Institute in La Jolla, California, in structural virology. I then commissioned as an Army biochemist. Yes, the Army does have biochemists by name in 2016. Right now, of all things, I'm a student again. I'm a student at the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. However, I've served in a variety of roles over the last few years, including the theater biochemist for U.S. Army Central Command. That was our command in the Middle East. And my big one was the Director of Laboratory Sciences at U.S. Army Public Health Command Pacific. As that laboratory director, I was responsible for overseeing a geographically dispersed laboratory enterprise with locations in Washington State, Hawaii, South Korea, and Japan. I was based out of Japan, which was an incredible experience. Also kind of paired nicely with my undergraduate minor. Our labs focused on three major areas of analysis: vector-borne disease detection, so diseases spread by mosquitoes and ticks, food safety testing, salmonella, things like that, and drinking water safety testing for both pesticides, so organic compounds, and heavy metals. So we were testing to make sure that the water that our folks were drinking, both stateside and at U.S. bases overseas, were within the guidelines for allowable amounts there. Although I was able to sneak into the lab from time to time, most of my day focused on meetings with my command, which was based all the way back in Hawaii on the other side of the date line, interfacing with our customers in Korea and Japan, reviewing technical reports, signing off on them, and developing the scientists I had working in my lab and overseeing contracts and budgeting, things like that. And that's pretty much what a normal Army biochemist does. So thanks.
Thank you guys for giving us a little bit of information about what you do now and, kind of what that looks like. And so we're going to go ahead and get started with the first question. And I just want to make a statement that I kind of want this to be more of a informal, like conversation type. So if anybody has any questions, and want more specific details about something one of the panelists says, feel free to just type it in the chat or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask that question and we'll get it answered. All right, so the first question is, I think I skipped the first question. Hold on a second. Did I let somebody in? Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Stop share. I don't use Zoom that often either.
It's Zoom, WebEx, and MS Teams, right? Which one's your favorite?
Yeah, no, we're all MS Teams here, so
that's what we are too.
Okay, so first question is, did you know you're going to be doing your current job when you were in undergrad?
You want to go first, Brad?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take this. Specifically, no, I didn't see this specific thing being something I was going to do when I was in undergrad. Now, military service is a tradition in my family. I knew at some point I'd probably be wearing the uniform doing something, but I didn't really know until I got further along that the Army actually has biochemists, and that it's a real, what we call low density job. So there's only about like 100 of us in the Army as a whole, compared to several hundreds to thousands of the various other jobs that we've got. So not specifically, but I knew I'd be doing something biochemistry related. I just didn't imagine that I'd be able to link them like that.
I'd say absolutely positively not. So when I got into biochemistry, I was really interested. I think Brad went to the human side. I went to the plant side. Very interested in plants and and feeding the world and that type of thing. So my new position is in business, so it's still with that, but I don't use my biochemistry degree very often on a practical basis, on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, it's 100 degrees away from where I thought I would be.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of relatable too for a lot of people that end up graduating with biochemistry degrees. They probably end up in something totally different. So thank you guys for that. Next question, can you describe the diversity of career options for a student with a biochemistry degree to your knowledge and experience?
Yeah, I'll tell you some first. So, I mean, to me, with biochemistry, you can go anywhere, you can do anything. I mean, I think you have two perfect examples. You have a doctor in the military, and you have a business person in a large chemistry corporation. I mean, at the end of the day, the world boils down to chemistry, and we're interested in the life. So there you have the biochemistry. So I mean, you can go anywhere, you can do almost anything with a biochemistry degree. It shows you can apply the lessons that you learn to life. So I mean, it's limitless in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. Biochemistry, I mean, it's in the name. It's the intersection of multiple fields there. And one thing that I saw when I got out there is a lot of people would like almost shoehorn themselves saying, I'm a chemist, I'm this, I'm that. But as the biochemist, it's like, hey, I'm interdisciplinary by my very nature. And the longer I've been going, and especially moving up into these management positions, it's like I've got a leg up on a lot of people when it comes to that, from breaking out of that specialized undergraduate major. So there's a good selection of career options from what I've seen so far. I did a postdoc, so I have to acknowledge, there is an academic pathway as always. But there's also industry positions, as Steven mentioned earlier. Quality assurance, quality control is something that I've seen pretty much, didn't hear about it talked about at all in the undergrad world, but that's a major, major lifeblood of these production labs that we've got out here. And finally, there's also government positions, either in the uniformed services like myself, or in a variety of civilian positions, such as research scientists, patent examiners, the list goes on. So I think there is a great diversity of fields we can go into, and just that problem solving skills and that diversity that's baked into the biochemistry degree really will help you go wherever you want to go with it.
And I'll add one more thing, Brad. Your comments made me think about it, is also you have like the regulatory aspect of it, so the government jobs, regulatory, EPA, these scientists that are instrumental in providing safety assessments and ensuring that what we do in intake and eat and grow is safe for us and the environment. So that's a big field as well.
Yeah, for me personally, as a student, that I didn't say this, but I came in thinking I was going to do biomedical engineering, and I didn't even get accepted into the biomedical engineering program here. And immediately biochemistry stood out to me because of the fact that it was the biology and chemistry coming together and kind of being super diverse. So that I can agree with you guys. That's something that I really liked about biochemistry. Okay, so I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit, but what interdisciplinary job fields could you suggest to students that want their degree to be utilized, but maybe not in the typical science-related field? Any more that you guys can elaborate on, because you guys kind of touched on a lot of those already.
Yeah, I think, I pretty much did a lot of those things.
Yeah.
It's beautiful the way it is. One other thing that I didn't mention earlier that biochemists have really kind of come to the front, the forefront right now is the medical laboratory support right now, especially with the COVID pandemic going on right now. That's one thing that I got kind of pulled into the into a medical lab, because I had that background in all those base technologies that are being used, PCR, antigen testing, all those things. They didn't have enough people with the right education and background to be the people signing off on the reports, things like that. So even though it's not science, it's more of that healthcare related. You can easily transition to that. In addition to those the regulatory. I mean, I'm just going to repeat what we said. So I think that's what I got here.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, outside your typical lab jobs, any field that touches, the food chain, you will find a biochemist somewhere in and along that, because at the end of the day, it has to be assessed for safety. Pharmaceuticals, the same thing, right? So you have to have those same. You have to have the skill set that you learn from a chemistry standpoint, understand how the drugs are made, from a biology standpoint, understand how it interacts with the animals it's tested on first, right, in your trials, and the humans that eventually consume it. So it's really a very wide and open and very, very good field to really go in any direction, through the academic line as well, as I think Brad mentioned. Yeah, it's been a great asset for me to get to where I am currently.
Thank you. You guys covered a lot of the interdisciplinary jobs that are possible with biochemistry. So thank you very much for that. And so then going from that, what future do you see for the job market for biochemistry majors?
Big. And so in industry, and I'm going to throw out two keywords that are big, and not just in the ag industry. I'd say in industry overall, sustainability and stewardship, right? Those are the things that any company is wanting to put investment in and to make the world a better place to live. So, and at the forefront, you're going to have biochemists sitting there. I mean, if it has to do with the planet, I mean, you need to have that biology understanding, you need to have that chemistry understanding to do that. So, I think the market is going to grow. The breadth of knowledge is so wide. I don't think we're going to have enough of us.
Exactly. Echoing exactly what you said there. The future looks real bright for biochemistry majors. We're getting a lot of good visibility for a lot of what I've been doing up until this point. It's been kind of like a little bit in the background, being that support player. But with, again, the COVID vaccine development program, Operation Warp Speed, who were those faces leading that vaccine development? It was the biochemists. Who are these ones? Now, also for myself, one position I didn't mention that I've also done for the Army so far is I was a medical planner, but I was bringing all the problem-solving skills I had as a biochemist, plus the knowledge of what I know about chemistry and biology to help inform senior leaders about how we need to best protect the force and how we need to go forward. So I don't discount all of those problem-solving skills. You can go anywhere with those right now. That's what's in real high demand.
And the question I like to ask, Sydnie, you and the students are, do they still have the glass tables at the library that you write on?
They do.
Do you still do that?
They do, and we love them.
Whiteboarding skills will parlay into any field you take. So I mean, it's great learning to write on a whiteboard with a marker and a Sharpie and not getting all over your arm. It's a great skill to have. I still do it. I did it last week.
Amen to that.
No, that's awesome, because it's definitely one of my favorite features of the library, being able to write on the tables and then it's great. So the next question, what were some of the biggest challenges you had to face to get to the position you're in now?
I'll start out on this one. This is Army specific, but getting back into good physical shape after being years where this was the limit of my physical activity. I was always on the bench on the computer, and I mean, if I had to do thumb push-ups, I was good. But the Army wants you to be a full soldier also. So we Army biochemists, we refer to ourselves as soldier scientists. Notice that we put soldier first. So we have to do all those common tasks. I still have to do all my PT tests, physical training tests. So that was my big thing. The academic side, the management, that was a lot of things I learned from both my time at NC State and from my postdoc. It's just continued development on that. So there was one thing I got caught for getting out of physical shape.
So I would say for me, and I mean, this is I guess where Brad and I diverge a little bit is, I left NC State with an undergraduate degree and went to industry, and that's all I have. I have a BS. So started off in the lab, and I quickly found that without an advanced degree, that there was a ceiling. So really, I had to take the interdisciplinary learnings that I took from school and start finding out how to apply those in other areas. So how can I make a move if I see a ceiling? How can I take my knowledge that I have and apply it to somewhere else where that ceiling has been raised? So that's not to say that you have to have an advanced degree to move up. I certainly don't, but that was one of the limitations for me to staying on the bench or in the lab field versus the change to a business role that I'm in now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think I have another question about jobs about graduate programs, but we'll get to there. So would you have chosen the same job if you knew then what you know now, and why or why not?
The current job we're in, or the job I started with?
I guess it could be either the job you started with or the current job, or both, whatever you want.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to get the same answer, because I think we've both been with our respective corporations, Army and BASF for a long time. Yes. I mean, you know, when I worked in the lab in undergraduate at NC State, and then when I went to industry, you know, I had to learn some stuff. I had to learn how to interact in an industry setting. But I mean, I'm certainly extremely happy where I am now. I don't think that I would have gotten here if I would have had you know, my chemie degree. I mean, I think I'd be in a different place, and I have no complaints with where I am now.
Yeah, same here. I would absolutely have chosen the same job. I love that the Army's given me a chance to both serve the country, develop leaders, and still act as a scientist. It's also extremely gratifying to see the impact that we have on our community to support those public health efforts. The lab results that were coming out from my lab were supporting the health and welfare of over 600,000 U.S. Citizens in a variety of areas. It's also really helped. It's gotten me out of that almost a little bubble that you get into when you're a major. Everybody else is kind of thinking the same way as you. You all realize that biochemistry is important. Obviously, we're all in that field. But getting into the Army and being able to educate those senior leaders on things that I as a biochemist could bring to the table, and that particular viewpoint, it's really helped me, help confirm that for me, I made the right choice.
Yeah, that's really cool. You know, that's something that I hope for myself and other students, you know, that we can kind of figure that out before we get into a job and feel stuck. And so that's kind of what I'm hoping to do with this panel too, and kind of get students to think about. So thank you. So this is the question I was talking about for graduate programs. Do you guys know of any career opportunities that are available to biochemistry students that do not require graduate programs?
Anything and everything, right? I mean, I think if you don't limit yourself, right? I mean, you're going to find, even if you're a graduate student, you're going to find challenges, you're going to find ceilings. And the important thing is figuring out how to get around those. If you want to, you may get into a field, into a role, and be happy where you are. And you might be happy doing that for the rest of your life. But if you're not happy, you're going to see different opportunities. You got to figure out how to go and make those, how to get to those, right? Certainly, I don't think you have to have a graduate degree. You just have to work a little bit harder and want it a little bit more in some instances. So, I mean, there's certainly all different types of options. I mean, MBAs are available as well, which can be helpful. But no, I mean, you will see that some people with a graduate degree may come in higher than you, but they're 4 years behind you as well, because they spent 4 more years in school. So it's not detrimental not to have a graduate degree. It's certainly helpful in some areas as well.
Definitely. So like was just mentioned, all that graduate degree, as soon as I got away from that academic path, all that graduate degree got me was, hey, you came in a little bit higher to make up for that lost time, basically, but still didn't get any of that back pay. But that's another story. But I think the only other thing would be like, for me, like the officer path in the Army, you got to have at least that master's degree, but there's still a variety of options. In fact, most of the people I was supervising, all you need is a bachelor's degree. So those patent examiners, you only need a bachelor's degree. Those Department of the Army civilians that were in those labs doing the water testing and also rising to leadership positions within those labs only had a bachelor's degree. So the bachelor's degree, not having a graduate degree, does not limit you at all. You just have to, as was mentioned earlier, maybe have to do a little bit of looking on the outside a little bit to find if you hit a ceiling and you want to keep going up. Maybe you have to sidestep a little, but you can keep growing. So.
Yeah, I think that's a very big fear for some students that, they get through undergrad and it's like, I cannot go back to school. So I think that's very good insights that you guys can provide.
Yeah, imagine me right now where I thought I was done with school back in 2012, and here I am in 2021. Army said, "Now we're gonna send you to get a master's again." Imagine my little look. I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah, it's really crazy. Were you gonna say something, Stephen?
I was going to say that was me. I took a year off. I thought about going to graduate school, in different majors. I took a year off from school. I worked in the lab at NC State for 2 years. My PI in the lab said, "Stephen, you have two paths. Take what you're done here and turn it into a PhD. No coursework, but you got to write your thesis, right? Or get out of here and go to industry." I went to industry and didn't look back. I mean, it's two different paths, and each path leads to great, successful things.
And I think the other thing too is going down one path early in your career does not prevent you from doing the jump over later. So I've seen a lot of people who go back and get that advanced degree later on, and like me, I started out on that academic path and I sidestepped out to go into industry government. So don't feel like you're going to be locked in. You've done that and now that's dictated the rest of your life. That is absolutely not the case.
Thank you for those insights. So what worked well for you when looking for experience in the industry? For example, finding internships or volunteering opportunities, and what advice could you provide to students in regards to that?
I think things have changed a lot since I came out at NC State. But I mean, for me, the undergraduate work I did in the lab set the table for industry for me, right? So I learned a lot. I learned a lot of skills. I learned a lot of practical skills you're not going to learn in lab in biochemistry, right? So I had a great PI, I had a great, lab manager. So being able to show that I could do some of these advanced skills. When I got my first industry job, it was at a startup in RTP. That's all they needed, right? I mean, I was basically a glorified dishwasher. But I showed that I could do some things, right? I showed that I could take on more than what they needed, and that opportunity grow in snowballs. So undergraduate work is great. I mean, it's networking. Is probably the biggest and most important thing, I would say, though.
Yeah, definitely agree with a lot of the points you brought up there, Stephen. I think for me, it's in addition to all that, looking for lab experience outside of the actual academic lab there, the course lab, as it were. I'd also be looking at usajobs.gov. That's kind of, if you want to go for that government approach. It's a website. All the positions that they're currently looking for are on there. So basically that's a great resource for all of those positions. And that's the patent examiners I talked about, those quality assurance, quality control. Anything published, open for solicitation worldwide, you can find on that website. So using those resources like that, in addition to the networking, they don't really teach that much about it, but that's definitely a key skill going forward. I'd also like to suggest get an internship during the summer, look at maybe a co-op, something like that, just getting something to show that you're doing more than just taking coursework and marking time, and that'll help you get that leg up for when you're moving on out from after undergrad.
Yeah, so there's a question.
Selma, to your question.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, you saw the question. Okay, I was just gonna read the question because I wasn't sure if you guys saw the chat. But go ahead, Stephen.
I'll say to your question, it's not critical. I think you can find with a BS in biochemistry at NC State, you're lucky, right? You sit in RTP. There are so many companies that just need hands-on in the lab, right? So it's not critical. I think it definitely it helps. I think it might help you get maybe a potentially higher position initially, but the critical thing is getting your foot into the door. And if it's, like I said, if it's scanning barcodes on tubes, that's getting your foot in the door. If it's going into a greenhouse, sampling plants, maybe you're not doing your biochemistry. Maybe you're not doing your RNA analysis, your extractions and those type of things. You're not doing that, but you've got your foot in the door. Then you can see all the different opportunities. It definitely helps, but it's not critical. So the wealth of opportunity around RTP is great. Around the world is great. I can't speak to the world. I'm an RTP. I've been here my whole life. So.
Yeah, completely agree. It's not required, but it helps you get that leg in. It helps elevate you above the rest of those resumes in the field. If all you do is click a button, hey, you kind of cast your dice there, but get it, putting a face to a name, actually get it. Hey, I recognize that person. That's that networking that you get started there, and that you could either go up in that company, or hey, I know somebody who's looking for something. So that helps get you that nexus that's going to help grow your network out.
Yep.
Thank you both so much. Because I'm currently a senior as well, just like Sydnie. I graduate next year though, but I didn't do a lot of research this past year just because I kind of wanted to change paths and see how biochemistry is in industry before focus on health or medical sciences. And so it's something I want to look into the next semester, but I didn't know if I had to have an extensive background research experience before starting to apply to those experiences as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No. You're gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was really great. I like that conversation, guys. Great work. And so this is the final question that I have prepared. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your undergraduate self when it came to finding a career?
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that we just talked about would be, it's almost like I was talking to a past version of myself there. Get that hands-on experience early. That's one of the things that helped, I know this is a biochemistry centered panel here, but it's what got me out of chemical engineering. I got some of that hands-on. I could not imagine doing this for the next 20 years. So now is the time to get on out of here. Try to find those summer internships, volunteer, co-op positions. I know a few of the folks here are kind of late in the path here, but for the people who are still early on in their path, hey, don't discount study abroad programs also. I think my study abroad experience kind of helped demonstrate that I could do more than just that academic package there. Showed I could live and work in an overseas location, helped land me that first assignment in Japan, which was awesome. So keep branching out, and don't focus in too tight on something, because again, biochemistry is that intersection of multiple disciplines. So I mean, it's our business. We are everywhere. So don't limit yourself.
Yeah, I mean, agree wholeheartedly with everything that Brad just said, and also one thing that I didn't do, it was take advantage of the career services. I didn't do it. I mean, I think things have come a long way since I was in school as well. But I mean, I didn't go to the career fairs. I didn't reach out. I didn't talk to a lot of different academic professors. I didn't meet anyone in industry. So I would certainly urge myself to do that. Would it have led to a different path for me? I don't know, maybe, but I mean, it can certainly be helpful. So I mean, I think there's a lot of resources. Talk to your professors. Find your favorite professor and make them a mentor, right? Bug them, talk to them, say, hey, if you want to go to industry, do you have connections here or there? One of my good friends at BSF, I mean, he sits on the CALS panel. I mean, People are vested. People are interested. I want to get people from NC State into industry. I mean, it's I know what the background is, and I know what it means to have that degree from NC State in biochemistry. So I mean, network, have conversations, put yourself outside your comfort zone a little bit, put yourself out there, but be confident when you do it as well.
Yes, just to plug Career Services, as I am a representative of Career Services, we offer so many different resources for students. And like you said, a lot of students still don't take advantage of it. But it's definitely very helpful. And the students that do, like, they're always very appreciative of, the things we could do, like interview prep and just reviewing a resume, or, going over how to ask for an informational interview. Those types of things are really beneficial to students. And I also agree that a lot of them don't take enough advantage of that. And so, are there any other questions from people here right now that we didn't cover, or anything you want to hear a little bit more about?
And while I was thinking, Sydney, I think you brought up a good point, is the resumes, right? For an entry-level position, the hiring manager is going to see 100 resumes. So take advantage of that, right? I mean, work with the career services, work with Sydney, and say, hey, reach out to some recent hires from the program and say, what did your resume look like? What do you think was beneficial in catching that hiring manager's attention? Because a lot of times it's a piece of paper and it's just a name, right? So nobody really knows. So take advantage of those things. Take advantage of the network. LinkedIn's great. I mean, people talk on LinkedIn all the time. You can make connections there.
Yeah, and another thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, no. Having served as a hiring manager, again, it's making. I can't say it enough. Making sure that resume looks right, and what's going to do that to bring it to the top. I got some statistics from our Civilian Personnel Action Center. The people who would pre-screen those resumes, there'd be hundreds of applications, but they'd only send like the top 10 to get to me. So work with those subject matter experts to figure out what do I need to do to make sure that I'm standing out from the rest of those resumes. So definitely use the Career Center for that.
Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, here's just the last slide with our website information about career services. And I also have the information to resume and cover letter resources, and also job and internship searching resources. And then if you guys are interested, any students interested in making appointments with career services, you can make them on ePAC. And then I also have listed my email if you guys have any questions for me specifically. I'm always available to help with anything that I can. And so that concludes the panel. I would like to thank our two panelists for joining us today and spending some time with us to give us some really great insights. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure all the students that are here and that will view the recording appreciate it as well. Thank you.
No, thank you, Sydney. It was great. Best of luck to you all.